March 24th, 2020. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Care. The ancient Chinese had long studied life through and declared that husbands and wives are opponents. What is an opponent? An enemy. The ancient Chinese showed wisdom when they said that it is better for opponents to untie than to tie up. What did they mean by that? They meant that two opponents should not unite. That is, they should not marry and become couples. Not to tie up means not to join together. Anyone who accidentally forms a couple should untie, divorce, ASAP. To untie means to dissolve the partnership, to untie the rope that binds both parties, and to let both parties fly freely. Among the various relationships in society, the worst and the ugliest ones are those between husbands and wives. The most trouble and pain in people's lives come from their marital partners. Domestic violence does, and so do cold wars. The worst complaints are those between married couples, and the mutual torture between them is also the worst. Once a person is married, they fall into an abyss of misery which lasts for the remainder of their union. When an angel marries, they become a devil. When a saint marries, they become laity or mortal. 90% of married men wear green hats, feel betrayed. Is this not painful? 90% of married women lose their desirability after marriage. Is this not annoying? Chinese culture was created by God. Just look at the Chinese character, Huan, and you can understand everything. Nir means woman and Huan means confused. A woman gets confused and gets married. Jiehuan means to marry, and it is clear that when a man unites with a confused woman, he also becomes confused. There is a saying that a wife is not as good as a concubine, and a concubine is not as good as stolen love. These words reveal the secret of secular life. If a man has a wife and a concubine, then he will definitely prefer his concubine. But even if he has 3 wives and 4 concubines, he would still want to steal love. Why? Because the stolen love tastes exceptionally delicious and is fascinating, irritating, and yearning. So why not steal it? Only a fool would not want to steal some love. Lechery is not a crime and stealing love is not theft. So why not steal some love? Even if you do not steal any, you still think about it. Come on, admit it. Even if you cannot sleep at night, lose your appetite, and become haggard, you will still be restless and ready to take action. Once opportunity knocks, you will definitely take action even if it means walking the wire or even dying for it. This is reality and people have to face it. For thousands of years, this reality has not changed at all. No matter how fancy someone's moral preaching is, how harsh their legal precepts are, or how people talk about them, even if their body would be smashed into pieces and their family would be disrespected for 10,000 years, there would still be an endless stream of them who will cheat on love. Since this is the truth of human nature in the mortal world, why should we avoid it? Why not just accept the truth? Husbands of the world, why even dream of stopping your wife from cheating on you? Wives of the world, why even fancy stopping your husband from cheating on you? Even if you could have controlled your spouse from cheating on you before, this is the age of mobile phones with internet access where people can cheat on anyone at any time. Can you watch and guard them all the time? No way. No guarding, defending, threatening, or tempting can stop the flood of cheating. If a wife does not cheat, then she must not be sexy enough, and if a husband does not cheat, then he must not be charming enough. Never believe that people with power and money do not cheat. The richer and more powerful they are, the more they cheat. Do not expect your partner to not cheat on you because you are as beautiful as a flower in a jade setting or handsome and debonair. A handsome husband is not as good as a stolen fool, and no matter how beautiful a wife is, she is not as good as a stolen, lascivious woman. A man who has been married for many years will tell you that his wife is the most annoying woman in his life, and a woman who has been married as long will tell you that she was blind on the altar. The fact is that no one is wrong. What is wrong is entering into the boundless sea of bitterness, the marriage program. Would Buddha Shakyamuni have become Buddha if he had not escaped from his marriage? Would Lao Tse have become a celestial if he had ridden a green bull out of the pass with his own yellow-faced wife? Would he have become Lord Lao Tse? Would King of Yin Dynasty, Zhou's kingdom have been overthrown if Jiang Ziya had a wife next to him to direct him as he was helping Zhou Wenwang and Zhou Wuwang to win their battles? Would Christopher Columbus have discovered the New World if he had loved a wife who loved him equally? When I was a child, seeing new couples at weddings made me feel green with envy. Now, I feel pity for them because I know what they are in for. When I was a child and saw a man with his wife, I felt that he was very imposing. Now, I feel as if I am looking at a ghost. When I was a child and saw a woman with her husband, I felt that she was very happy. Now, she reminds me of a frog in a well. In fact, all couples live in pain, though on the surface they pretend to be very happy. In their hearts, they ask each other, "Why are you still alive?" But then they verbalize, "You are my favorite." People are so deceptive and such good performers. Even more strange is that some couples have never had more than a few days of happiness in their entire lives. They know that entering into marriage and becoming a couple was the worst mistake in their lives, but they still force their children to follow their own painful paths. It is an obvious fire pit, but they force their children to jump into it. How cruel do you think such parents are? Are there any real people in this world? I have thought it over and over again, but could not figure it out. Finally, I can only say that all parents who force their children to marry must have been kicked in their heads by donkeys or even camels. Either their minds are flooded, some nerves in their brains short-circuited, or they were fed the wrong drug when they were born. There is no other explanation. Then, if you do not get married and do not have a romantic partner, where will you go? The most ideal and most beautiful way out is in our garden, the new oasis for life created by Life Genuine.
人类从新冠病毒疫情中应当明白这8个道理。
Humans should understand these 8 truths from the COVID-19 pandemic. Xiefeng. May 20th, 2020. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kair. Let us look first at some natural changes that have occurred during the pandemic, and then we will see what we should conclude from them. You might want to research the following news items on the internet to see what has happened. The virus has healed the Earth. The contrast of aerial photos from before and after the lockdown of the cities is amazing. Satellite data show that China's air quality has improved significantly. The air quality comparison chart under the global pandemic is conclusive. An Italian city was closed for 2 weeks and satellite views of it found amazing changes. Due to the outbreak, the number of tourists has plummeted and the canals in Venice, Italy have cleared nicely. Miami's water became clear, global carbon dioxide emissions dropped, mountain lions appeared in cities, and the earth began to restart. Residents of Punjab, India could see the Himalayas, 201 kilometers away in early April for the first time in nearly 30 years. India ordered a nationwide blockade at the end of March and found that the Ganges River had cleaned itself. Since the outbreak of the pandemic, the global blockade has slowed people's activities. As a result, all-round changes have taken place on the Earth. The 8 examples above are enough to make us understand the 8 truths below. Atmospheric pollution, turbid rivers, reduced marine life, soil acidification, salinization, reduction of animals and plants, climate warming, ecological crises, and more are all caused by human activities, and humans must reverse them. There are too many people on the earth and we should reduce our uncontrolled growth. Regardless of race, ethnicity, or country, population development should be controlled within Mother Nature's tolerance. The national policies and human activities dominated by the developed economies are biased. Economic development must be in line with Mother Nature's annual productivity, and we cannot ask too much from her. Otherwise, she who nurtures us will get sick and lose her temper. People's food, clothing, shelters, traveling, aging, sickness, and death are all consuming natural resources. The more people possess, the more they damage the earth and the more sins they commit. The more people enjoy, the more they abuse and ravage the earth and the more sins they commit. Once anything's development goes to the extreme, it will inevitably be contained. The only way to avoid containment is to maintain harmony and balance among all things. Human nature has both a good side and an evil one. Capitalism and the market economy model conform to the evil side of human nature, that is, the greedy side. Greed leads to evil, which leads to ecological imbalance and ecological disaster. These facts tell us that there is something wrong with traditional values and the production and life mode of humans, and that this value and mode is the source of the virus. How do we solve the above 8 problems? In order to let people live happy and peaceful lives without anxiety or fear, to make society harmonious, and to restore nature to its original purity and cleanliness, I am fully prepared in both theory and practice. The theory is called Chanyuan values. The practice is called the New Oasis for Life. I have lived in Asia for decades, Africa for 17 years, North America for 3 years, with primitive tribes in Oceania for a few months, with Christians for 3 years, with Muslims for 3 years, had deep contact with Hindus, subtle contact with Buddhists and Taoists, understood Western spiritual culture, Osho's thoughts, and earnestly studied and explored Marxist theories, so I understand that people's needs are at the bottom in the minds of rich bosses. Therefore, my theory and practice are suitable for the interests of humankind as a whole, as well as to meet everyone's wishes. I hope that people will think about it deeply. Again, without changing humanity's traditional production and life modes, our suffering will continue endlessly, and not only will we be punished by nature, but the future will never be bright.
人人都自带新冠病毒。
Everybody carries the COVID-19 virus. Xiefeng. June 16th, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. As the COVID-19 pandemic keeps spreading throughout the world, all countries continue their efforts to avoid it out of fear that they might catch it, and wearing masks has become a main method of preventing its spread. I would like to inform everyone that these external preventive measures, including wearing surgical masks, will not work. Whether people will be infected by the virus or not depends completely on the 8 qi that they possess. That is to say that those who are supposed to catch the disease, even if they remain fully insulated, will get sick, but those who are not supposed to get it, even if they bathe in water that is fully contaminated with the virus, will not. My viewpoint is supported by the following 3 theories. Holographic theory. According to cosmic holographic theory, even while latent, all subsystems contain all the information of their systems and all the information of the universe. Any subsystem is a microcosm of its system and therefore a microcosm of the universe. A medical doctor can order a blood test from 1 drop of our blood, and all the information about our bodies can be determined from that single drop. Through that test data, the doctor can determine what diseases we have because every cell of the body contains all the information about the body. This is the cosmic holographic theory. It can be concluded that once the COVID-19 virus came into existence, everyone in the world became infected with it, and this has nothing to do with their location or whether they have guarded against it. Those who deny this deny cosmic holography. The truth of Buddhism. 1 flower, 1 world, 1 leaf, 1 Bodhi. The Buddha said, everyone owns Buddha nature. All humans can become Buddha. The truth of Buddhism shows that human self-nature owns everything. Self-nature can generate all Dharma, and all Dharma is generated from self-nature. This tells us that each of us has both the most beauty in the world and the most ugliness in the world. We can also infer logically that everyone owns a devil's nature and a beast's nature. Whether people achieve Buddhahood or fall to a demonic level depends on their self-nature. Therefore, it can be concluded that whether we become infected by the virus or not depends on our self-nature, not on our preventive measures such as wearing masks. If one thinks that someone is infected by exposure to someone else, it shows that they do not understand the truth of Buddhism. The principle of causation. All Dharma is a void except karma. If one wants to understand their past lives, then they should study what they receive in this life. The principle of causation tells us that reality is only the projection of one's consciousness. One suffers because they have ever sinned. One is blessed and can live at ease and comfort because they have accumulated merits and virtues. You reap what you have sown. Those who take baths often and wash their clothes regularly will not get lice, but those who do not do so will acquire them. The birth and spread of COVID-19 needs to meet certain conditions, so whether one gets infected and sick depends on whether they meet those conditions. If they meet them, then they will become infected and get sick, but if they do not meet them, then they will not get sick even if they become immersed with them. I have written more than 260 articles over the last 17 years as warnings to the world which have been disseminated across the internet. The current state of the today's world and sceneries of a future world have been heralded clearly by them. Although it is too late for mankind to turn the corner, the laws and principles of life and life do work at all times. I want mankind to know that the only way to escape from your current crisis, but to walk the propitious path, is to change your traditional mode of production in life, and that the way for individuals to escape from this crisis and to lead blessed lives is to take the way of the greatest creator and follow the road of life genuine. If you think that I am wrong and that you are right, then just follow your own path and you will find out. The great demon of the evil homeland replies to China's anti-cult network. Xiefeng. July 30th, 2021. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kair. Fighters of China's anti-cult network. First of all, if you feel that you are doing right and are confident in your actions, then do not delete or block my article here. If you are scared, then delete it or block it. You have been a great help because your video, The Home of Evil, has expanded Life Genuine's influence, which is exactly what I have been looking for. As for whether or not people believe your video's content, you know that in today's China, it is everyone's tacit understanding. Nowadays, only mindless people still believe the messages published by governments at your level. After watching your video, I can see that you have put much work into it, but also that it is still rough and that your understanding needs refinement. You said that you rescued believers who had been directed remotely by Zhang Zifen, Xiefeng, but this is inconsistent with the facts. One of your insiders sent me some photos of your process of rescuing my followers. In one of them, a female Chanyuan Celestial's hands were tied behind her back with a rope, and she was squatting on the ground with a police officer holding a pistol against the back of her head in the same way that Japanese devils shot and killed Chinese compatriots during the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. Is this what you called rescue? I still have the photo. You posted a few photos of me in the video which we had taken while playing games. You deliberately selected those photos to vilify me and to scare my potential sisters-in-law away. That was unscrupulous of you. The biggest shortcoming of the video upon which you worked so hard is that there were no voices of any Chanyuan Celestials. It is a failure. In fact, the biggest blow to Life Genuine and Xiefeng should be Chanyuan Celestials exposing my ugly deeds, which would have been much more convincing. It is lacking that you did not do that. Wang Gang, who appears in the video, is the son of Foci Celestial. His performance in the video was simply that of a respectful son. But what is the truth? You should allow his mother Foci to talk about it. Why would an elderly woman in her 80s not be with her son, but with the demon, Xiefeng? People with normal thinking ability will come up with something, right? We have a lot of evidence to prove why the elderly woman would rather die outside than live with her son. Is it evil for Xiefeng's homeland to take in 80-year-olds and allow them to live comfortable lives? I used to think that evil meant not showing filial piety to the elderly, but now it seems that showing filial piety to the elderly is evil. Thank you for showing me the true meaning of evil. Wang Gang said that Xiefeng asked his mother to bring her salary card over and end her relationship with the family. You should show evidence of this occurrence because without any, what you said is just slander. Will people believe it? Saying that your mother took her savings, ran away from home, and that you then lost contact with her is simply one big lie. Does telling such a lie mean that you have forgotten about the time that your wife and you visited Life Genuine? The video said that I joined traditional Christianity, but have you any evidence of this? Of course not, because you made all this up. You know that I am the messenger of the greatest creator, Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, and the incarnation of Celestial Laozi, but you think that this has all been made up by me, right? Is it not strange that one dares to claim himself as such but can still have a clear mind for 20 years? Is it not abnormal? This is not something that anyone can claim for themselves casually. If you do not believe me, you can try doing it yourself. If anyone claims to be such, it would take less than 1 year for them to go insane and die. If you do not believe me, try it yourself. Now suppose, what if Zhang Zifen's claim is true? If so, then your sins are surely not small. You said that our 2 places in Guizhou are secretly established bases under the cover of cooperative, comprehensive development projects. Excuse me, but are we also engaged in any illegal activities or any other than those stipulated in our contract? If so, please provide evidence. You said that the most important of Xiefeng's fallacies is that Chanyuan Celestials must hand in all their property. Please provide evidence of this. In which article did I write this? On what occasion did I say it? Please provide material evidence and testimonies of witnesses. Lu Chang is the husband of Xianin Celestial and appears in the video. You said that Xianin Celestial sold all of her family property behind Lu Chang's back and dedicated all his hundreds of thousands of RMB yuan to Life Chanyuan. But are the facts really as Lu Chang claims? Lu Chang is addicted to gambling. Not only did he gamble away their pig farm which they had worked so hard to build, but he also lost their house, driving the family into bankruptcy and unable to pay off some usurers from whom he had borrowed money. He hid outside all day and his wife had no choice but to beg to come to Life Chanyuan home. His wife had not sold their property behind his back and donated hundreds of thousands of RMB yuan to Life Chanyuan because she had nothing and even needed to purchase the train ticket with the pocket money her daughter gave her to travel from her former farm to Life Chanyuan. You have provided false testimony. I wonder if this is a crime in jurisprudence. I guess you need to study the law more seriously. Lu Chang said that he weighed nearly 75 kilograms when he was with his wife, but that his weight had dropped to 45 kilograms after she left. What does this fact show? With his wife supporting him, he was obese, but with his wife no longer taking care of him, he became underweight. Who can afford to support a man like this? You said that Life Chanyuan is an illegal organization. So we asked your public security officer why you felt that way? The officer said that Life Chanyuan was never registered. I ask you, must an organization register in order to be legal? Was the great, glorious, and correct Communist Party of China organization registered with the nationalist government of that time when it ruled China? If not, then according to you, the CPC has always been an illegal organization? Besides, Life Chanyuan is an international family which has been registered with the Canadian government. Can it not be counted as registered? Regarding Xiefeng's pronouncement that family members are enemies, this was a warning from Jesus Christ. Do you dare to say that Jesus Christ was wrong? Leaving home, this is the guidance and example of Buddha Sakyamuni. Do you dare to say Sakyamuni was wrong? You keep saying that Xiefeng's claims are fallacies and heresies. I have 800 values. Do you have enough wisdom and ability to refute any of them? You only need to challenge a few of them. If you cannot refute any of them, then how can it be called a fallacy? In view of this, it is not surprising that you call filial piety evil and the theory of truth fallacious. I will not comment on Li Yutian in the video, but he and his wife divorced voluntarily in 2009. At that time, their 2 children had grown up and his wife had left him without taking a penny from their family. The video said that his wife left him to live in Life Chanyuan community, but the community had not yet existed at the time of their divorce, so it would be nonsense to say that she came to us at that time. His wife's father died 7 years after they divorced, but you said that it happened only a few days after she left? In order to achieve your goals, lies can be made up like this only because the government is in league with liars. Is this what the government does? You also said that his wife's father died from lung cancer because his wife left him. Is there any scientific evidence that this can happen? According to Li Yutian, his wife's departure caused her father to get lung cancer, and he passed away within a few days. I ask, can lung cancer really kill anyone within only a few days of acquiring it? Is it not ridiculous to make lies like this up? Is this how the government collects evidence to prove that Life Chanyuan is evil? In fact, this has nothing to do with Life Chanyuan. The number of divorcees in the world is increasing and many people are not marrying. Are all of these changes caused by Life Chanyuan? Of course not. I advocate that as long as 2 parties are willing to, They can maintain emotional relations for a long time. What is wrong with this in terms of ethics and jurisprudence? Is it not allowed for them to keep long-term emotional relationships if they are consensual? You said that some of our game photos which you showed in your video were described as being intolerable to the eye. Do you really think so? Then how do you feel about the large number of pornographic pictures on the regular internet? You think our homeland life is immoral, right? Your public security officers raided our home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning many times, forced their way into our rooms, checked in our cabinets and under our beds. Did they ever find a man and a woman sleeping together? Never. Based on your realm, you can never imagine that Chanyuan Celestials like to talk and laugh. But in our home, we mostly like to live quietly and alone. We pursue the joy of non-material souls, not that of flesh. Based on your cognitive abilities, this realm is extremely difficult for you to imagine, and you will not be able to understand it even if you live for 500 years. Peng Jinlai, who is shown in your video, stayed in the Chanyuan home for only 5 or 6 days. During that period, he wanted to be intimate with a female Chanyuan Celestial, but she rejected him. For this, he hated the home and left immediately, and he also wanted his wife and daughter to leave with him. In your video, it was reversed. He was falsely accusing the female Chanyuan Celestial of seducing him. This man lied at every step. When Peng Jinlai's wife became a Chanyuan Celestial, she had difficulty walking because of surgery on her legs. In 2020, she was brought to the new Oasis for Life of Life Ichanyuan to recover because she was unable to walk, and a dedicated specialist had been assigned to take care of her during her recuperation. I ask you, if she had been sent home, would that not have added trouble to Peng Jinlai? Not only did Peng Jinlai not appreciate the Life Ichanyuan home, but he spread rumors and framed us. Would you agree that what he did goes against basic human morality? You said that my homeland is a mental cancer that endangers the masses. Please read carefully the Chanyuan Corpus, Xiefeng Corpus, and the 800 values for New Era humans. This huge theoretical system is in line with the teachings of Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, Immortal Laozi, the sages of the past, and Marx's theoretical communism. You seem to regard the teachings of gods, Buddhas, and immortals as mental cancers. So what your spiritual medicine might be? You said that through careful investigations, you had found various evidence of violations in the homeland. What are they in accordance with China's constitution and laws? If you cannot show the evidence of our violations to society, have you committed the crime of perjury? You said that all our believers were successfully rescued with no mistakes, but how could there have been no mistakes with nearly 100 people? Did you say that Xiefeng asked the Chanyuan Celestials to commit collective suicide? If I live, the home will exist. If the home perishes, I will die? From your video, can you tell any clues of Chanyuan Celestials wanting to die by committing suicide? Is there one Chanyuan Celestial resisting? Let me tell you that Chanyuan Celestials are the most civilized group of well-educated people in the world, and that none of them would do anything extreme. You have suppressed Life Ichanyuan for 8 years and destroyed our homes a dozen times. But has even one Chanyuan Celestial confronted anyone or done anything extreme? There were no mistakes in your process of smashing us. This was not because of how thorough and detailed your plan was, but because the quality of Chanyuan Celestials determined that they would not respond in any uncivilized manner. You said that Chanyuan Celestials cannot get prompt medical treatment and that they suffer from diseases in Life Ichanyuan. You are really good at fabricating and framing. The home regards every Chanyuan Celestial as a family relative. Once anyone feels uncomfortable, we immediately arrange for them to go to a hospital to be examined and treated, and we have never delayed anyone's timely treatment. During any Chanyuan Celestial's hospitalization, we provide at least 4 people to take care of them 24 hours each day. Do you not see it or know it? The care that the home delivers to every Chanyuan Celestial during their illness cannot be offered by ordinary families or social groups. Would you like to compare theirs against ours? The home's care and education for children are all-encompassing. To know the quality of a fruit tree, just look at it. We have raised more than a dozen children in our home. Why do you not let the kids tell their stories? As for the 13-year-old Zhao Mingming mentioned in your video, he is not running around the yard all day, as you described, and delaying his studies. The child's terminally ill mother arranged for her child to enter our home in order to secure a good future for him. Soon after his entering the homeland, his mother passed away. The homeland took care of all her funeral affairs. When the child's mother was critically ill, we promptly notified the child's grandmother and uncle who came to inspect how we managed her funeral affairs. As for the child, his grandmother and uncle both agreed that the homeland is good and wanted the child to stay here. We then arranged for the child to go to the local school in time. Is this not true? How can you alter and despise the true facts? Is it not true that the detained child shown in your video was still wearing the uniform of the Hope Primary School in Rongguang Town? Didn't you take the child away from that school? How can you say that we had delayed the child's studies? The alleged pennant sending in the video is very ridiculous. It showed that Su Dong, who was originally from Shaanxi, sent a pennant to the public security organization. The fact is that your officers customized the pennant in advance and then forced Su Dong to take a photo with the pennant. This is how pathetically you make yourselves look good. Just think about it. Relying on your brain capacity, knowledge, and spiritual quotient, is it possible for you to complete the deprogramming of Chanyuan Celestials in such a short period of time after my more than 10 years of patient and meticulous brainwashing? Are you qualified? Your so-called transformation is nothing more than threats, intimidation, and coercion, and then through blackening people's names, cutting off people's sources of life, and forcibly taking away their mobile phones, computers, ID cards, and passports for forced conversion. How is this fundamentally different from the ruffians, hooligans, gangsters, and bandits who put knives to people's throats and say, "Call me grandpa or I'll kill you"? Since April 28th, you took away the ID cards, mobile phones, and computers of many Chanyuan Celestials. Some of these objects have yet to be returned. Is this how you transform Chanyuan Celestials? You said that the evil homeland created by Zhang Zifan was smashed in one stroke. Your memory is really bad. This is not smashed in one stroke. You started the smashing in one stroke 8 years ago in 2013. You have already smashed in 12 strokes. You gave us real trouble, but it is too early to conclude whether we were destroyed. Boundless grasses across the plain come and go with every season. Wildfires never quite consume them. They are tall once more in the spring wind. If you really have the ability to completely destroy us, then what you have to do is not to drive the Chanyuan Celestials from their dens, but you must subvert Xiefeng's entire theory. If you do not destroy my theory, then the home will never be destroyed. Not to say to smash it in one stroke. You cannot destroy it with 1,000 strokes, or even 10,000 strokes. Another way to destroy us is to control all foreign networks and block the 8 public websites of Life Chanyuan, especially social media platforms such as Facebook, Google, and YouTube. Otherwise, who will be destroyed in the end has not yet been settled. After reading the above, are you scared? If you are not scared, then do not delete my article so that the so-called righteous people can see the evil of the Chanyuan home and of Zhang Zifan. But if you do not delete it, will the good people who were deceived by you think you are evil instead? Who knows? Maybe. However, your deletion and blocking can only be limited to your sphere of influence. The world outside your sphere of influence is very vast, and I can continue to publish it in that vast world. Nowadays, there is a popular saying, you will have to pay it back sooner or later. The 12 homes of Life Chanyuan were each smashed in one stroke by you. Sooner or later, this account will be settled. On average, each home is calculated at 10 million RMB yuan, and the 12 homes were worth 120 million RMB yuan, according to the current market value. A murderer must pay with his life, and a debtor must pay his debt. It is an unalterable principle that the debts you owe must be repaid. You are not going to get away with this. Up to the highest height and down to deepest depth, even if you die, Chanyuan Celestials will trace you to the end. Before you pay off your debt, your soul will never rest in peace. If you do not believe me, just wait and see. We hope that you will realize your errors, mend your ways, and commit fewer sins.
将中国反邪教网钉上人类文明的耻辱柱。
China's anti-cult network is nailed to the pillar of shame of human civilization. Xiefeng. August 18th, 2021. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Care. What is China's mode than ours?